everybody, this is Dan Miller for Bluegrass Unlimited Magazine, and it's December 2024 when I'm filming this lesson. And our cover story artist on Bluegrass Unlimited Magazine for December 2024 is the great Lester Flatt. So I thought it would be nice to do a lesson on Lester Flatt's G-Run. Okay? They call it the Flatt G-Run, the Lester Flatt G-Run. Lester didn't invent it. There are people that did it before him, but he made good use of it, and after he made use of it with Bill Monroe and then later with Flatt and Scruggs, other people started copying it and doing it, and so they started calling it the Flatt G-Run. Okay? Now, in interviews, Lester said he started playing that because Bill Monroe, when he started playing with Monroe, Monroe was doing everything so fast, he used it as a time setter to bring everybody back in. Like when they heard that at the end of a solo or the end of a chorus or something, they could, like, it's like the clapboard in a movie, everything reset, you know, everybody could set their time on that run, and when that G-Run popped out, then people could use that as a time setter, and that's the way Lester described that he used it. Years ago I was at Merlefest and I was standing with George Shuffler when we were watching Tony Rice and Sam Bush and Jerry Douglas and that bunch, you know, that would play every year at Merlefest, sort of an all-star band. And George pointed out, he said, listen to when Tony puts in that G-Run, it brings everybody back together. He said some of those guys, they'll do their solos and go way far out, but when at the end of the solo Tony pops that G-Run and everybody comes, you know, everybody knows where they are and everybody, so Tony was using it in the same, I think the same way that Lester was using it as a time setter. Years ago when I did a book on Charles Sawtelle, he described the G-Run as an exclamation point. He thought that various types of licks and phrases were like punctuation in spoken language, and he said the G-Run is an exclamation point at the end of a vocal line or at the end of a solo to just, you know, end it with that exclamation. So it's a very handy thing to do. I'm just going to show you a couple different versions and variations of a Lester Flatt G-Run. How Lester did it pretty straightforward, and other people have made it a little bit more complicated, and I'll show you a couple of different ways that you could play this thing. The idea is to get, if you're not familiar with a rest stroke, you really want to execute that G-Run with a rest stroke, or every note of the G-Run with a rest stroke. And a rest stroke is when, and I could do another video on the rest stroke because it's an important tool and technique, and Lester did it with his thumb pick, and you could do it with the flat pick. But the idea is that you push through the string, and you're not pushing like parallel the string, you're actually pushing into the string like an angle down towards the guitar top. And then after you play that note, your pick literally comes to rest on the string below. It's the ultimate follow-through because you're just pushing through that string. The string is going to pop off the edge of the pick and your pick's going to fall down and actually come to rest on the string below. That's why they call it a rest stroke. But let me just demonstrate a simple G-Run. Okay, so you're playing rhythm. There. So I'm playing an E note on the D string, and then I'm popping that G note, and they're both rest strokes. So I'm hitting the D string, E note at the D string, pushing through until my pick lands on the G string, and then I'm pushing through the G string open until my pick lands on the B string. That's a great simple G-Run. It gets the point across, and it does what it needs to do. It really pops out there and makes that, either that makes that exclamation point or pops out so people can use it as a time setter like Lester said he did. A more complicated one, slightly more complicated, would be to go. So I'm pulling off that E note to a D, open D. Okay? So those are two real simple ones. Another one that you could do it kind of follows a major blues scale. I'm going to go G, A, B flat, B, so. And I'm playing each note as rest strokes, as just pick strokes one at a time. We'll get into doing this as a rest stroke, but I'm just going through the notes right now. It's going to be G, A, B flat, B, D, E, G. Okay? That at a high tempo can be hard to get in. Playing eighth notes at a high tempo like that, playing every note as a picked note. And it doesn't have the same pop that you want. So Charles Sautel showed me the way he did that run, and he does a downstroke here, pick stroke, rest stroke, and then he hammers. 2 hammers. And then a hammer pull. Okay? So that makes everything pop out a little bit. Those rest strokes make those notes pop out cleaner, clearer, and with more volume. So if you look at my right hand, I'm going down, 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 down. Rest, 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 rest. Pushed a little bit too hard. I got buzzy on that one, but you see the power that you can get into it when you do those rest strokes there. So that's a good way to do it as well. All down strokes, all rest strokes, and you're going to hammer twice, hammer pull off, and then pop your G note as the exclamation point. So that's another good way to do it. Another thing that you can do is what Oren Starr called a recovery strum after you play the G run. After, I'll just go back to the simple G run. If I go, so that way, if I go, just go right back into my regular rhythm, it doesn't allow that thing to really resonate as much as it can if you leave a little bit extra time. So that first strum, after I play the G note, I'm gonna let that thing ring out for a dotted quarter note in time value, and then go back to strumming. So it'd be. So that's something that you could try and add in there, and it adds a little. Oren Starr, when he talked about this, he felt like having that dotted quarter note empty space after that first strum of the G run sort of let that G note ring out for a little while and make it more noticeable. So you can try that as well. Well, that's all I got for you today. It's a short lesson just on the mechanics and a couple of versions of the Lester Flatt G run. Try that out when you're playing. Work on those rest strokes. That's an important part of it to get those notes to really pop out. Even if you're doing the simple G run, you know, when you're going E and then G. Do those. Try those rest strokes, and then try the full G run, going rest, 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 4 rest strokes in a row using the hammers and pull-offs, and see how you can implement that in your rhythm for guitar. All right, this is Dan Miller for Bluegrass Unlimited Magazine. Thanks for watching.